All right, here's matrix times matrix, but we're only going to do 2 by 2 times 2 by 2. You can get a little more complicated. We're not going to do this in this class. It's basically the same concept. You just you gotta know like how things are going to end up in the end. And so you can probably jump on YouTube for other ones like that. So 2 by 2 matrix. I really only had 2 examples. They got it basically after the first one. So let me make sure I'm set up. And I wanted to start with some review on adding and subtracting. So 3 minus negative 3 was 6. Negative 1 minus 0. And that was pretty easy. It was element minus element, and you get it. Same thing with scalar multiplication. It's pretty easy. 2 by 2 multiplying, it's not quite the same. In adding and subtracting, we would do like, you would think it would be like 1 times 5 and 2 times 6, but clearly 1 times 5 is not 19 and 2 times 6 is not 22. So what happened? Basically, we take a 2 by 2 and a 2 by 2, and it's going to give us a 2 by 2. And our 2 by 2 has 4 spots. Okay? And you can kind of already see where this is going. But this is, my students called it top left. I was like, well, what position is it? Oh, well, that's the first row and the first column. I said, perfect. So we're going to use the first row here and the first column here to figure out what's going on. Now we go left to right and top to bottom. 1 times 5, bam. 2 times 7, bam. But the problem is I can't just have 2 numbers sitting in this spot. So we add them together. 5 plus 14 is 19. Now we go over here. Now this is the first row, but now it's the second column. So we'll still be using the first row, but now we're using the second column. Still same thing. 1 times 6, 2 times 8. Add those 2 numbers together. 6 and 16 is 22. At this point, second row, first column got me these. And then second row, second column got me these. Once you kind of understand like what's happening, like, oh, okay, I'm basically taking everything in this row and everything in this column and kind of going in order. And they have to be like that. They have to match up a certain way on some of the bigger ones. But with 2 by 2, it's always going to look like this, which is the reason I use 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8. Because on the next example, I said, look, you have this to reference, like where, oh, I need to go look where number 1 is. 1's here. So in my actual example, it's this or whatever. They were able to get it after literally just this one example. So I gave them this example. And these are my answers. Yeah, well, it's too late now. I did not show them this. I wanted them to work it out, and of course I had this covered so they couldn't see. But they worked it out, and then they got the right answer because it was this row times this column, add them together and put the number there. And so 2 times 3 plus 3 times 1, 6 plus 3, 9. Yeah, it works. And so some of them still were able to do it in their head, which was actually kind of impressive. But this was it. I mean, honestly, if you kind of understand like where everything came from and how we got everything, and I know it's tough to see, but those are multiplying and then adding the 2 multiplies together. That's 2 by 2 multiplication. It's not too crazy difficult. So yeah, I literally gave them 2 examples, and yeah, that's about it. No, there's nothing important on that slide. It's just all right.